shit. Oh, quick.
Watch some of the best dunks with Dairy Dunkers.
It's playoff time, and there will only be one team smiling as the championship approaches its conclusion. We're at the Sky Dome in Coventry for the Dairy Dunkers Championship quarterfinals, and we have a triple header for you. In our first game, it's the #1 seeded London Towers against the 4th seeded Chester Jets. Then immediately following that, it's the higher seeded Sheffield Sharks versus the Birmingham Bullets. Then we switch channels over to Sky Sports 1, where at 6 p.m. the Thames Valley Tigers go head-to-head with the Edinburgh Rocks. It's single elimination, so they are all must-see games. Hi, I'm Kevin Cato, and I'll be here for the entire 6.5 hours of action. Joining me for this marathon are Billy Mims of Leicester and Martin Ford from Derby, and neither can agree on who our winners will be. Sadly, when we look at the final conference tables, we see that our 2 guest coaches didn't qualify for the playoffs in the North, but we see that Chester, Edinburgh, and Sheffield did, along with the Giants, who are conference champions. Now, in the South, the Towers claimed the crown, followed by Thames Valley, Birmingham, and Milton Keynes. Now, overall, 3 new teams qualified for the playoffs this year: Chester, Edinburgh, and the Milton Keynes Lions. Our matchups are seeded. London plays Chester, Sheffield against Birmingham, Thames Valley matches up to Edinburgh, and earlier today, the Manchester Giants met up with the Milton Keynes Lions, whom the Giants have beaten 25 consecutive times. And here's some action from that game. Manchester and Milton Keynes met in the first quarterfinal of the day. In a tight first quarter, the teams exchanged baskets before the Giants eased in front with points from Harrison and Conlon to lead by 17 at the half. In the second half, Manchester continued to build on their first half lead. The Giants wouldn't go down without a fight and mounted a comeback at the start of the fourth. But Roy Harrison, top scorer and MVP with 24 points, the Giants eventually won by a score of 81-68. The winning streak continues, so the Giants go through to the playoffs. The winners of the Tigers and the Rocks, the other brackets, will be determined after our first game this afternoon. Now, fellas, for me, a big game, missed or made free throws, layups are the determining factors that I look for. What do you guys look for, Billy?
Second quarter of that first game today that we saw earlier, Milton Keynes couldn't finish. They had to make little plays. It's not the big plays that win these games. I think it's the little plays. They didn't make enough little plays. In these next 3 games that we're about to watch, I'm going to look for the teams that make the little plays and do them well.
Martin?
I think it's a case of a team not taking an easy option. Milton Keynes decided, they were struggling penetration pitch, so in the end they just decided to stand on the 3-point line and just shoot the basketball.
Okay, so for the inside scoop on the London Towers and the Chester Jets, let's now travel down to courtside and join Suzanne Dando.
Thanks, Kev. Well, thanks, Kev. The inside scoop, of course, is over these last 2 weeks. We've all speculated on the state of Danny Lewis's back injury. Well, he's had extensive treatment, including an epidural, and I'm pleased to say he is suited up and will be playing some of the minutes of today's game, which is great news for the Towers, of course, but not probably such good news for the Jets. It's a big game for them, and it's only the second time in their franchise history that they've made it through to these quarterfinals in the championships. By contrast, the Towers are at this stage for the 9th consecutive season. So I think it's easy to see which team is the more surprised about being here today. It is, of course, the Chester Jets, and this is why. Derby's loss to Newcastle last Saturday meant 11th hour playoff qualification for the Chester Jets. 3 key players had already departed and had to be recalled, but for personal reasons, Terence Lewis has not returned. It's a blow, but Robbie Pears is used to adversity.
If you're going to coach Chester Jets, you need to be positive. You need to look at all the strengths. You need to turn it into a positive, whatever the situation is. If you come into the job and straight away you're looking at the minuses, you haven't got a chance. Everything we do is a positive. We can win on Saturday.
That positive attitude prevails throughout the club, exemplified by the victories in their last 4 league games, particularly the win over Manchester in their final fixture.
Played very well, and we didn't just win the games. You know, we beat them well, all 4 teams. We started to gel and started to play well again, and it's a good omen, I think. You know, the way it's all happened. I mean, maybe, who knows?
I don't think the teams are going to be taking us lightly, because I think most of the teams know by now that we're the kind of team that on any given night we can take on anybody. So, I mean, we are definitely the underdogs, but I like our chances because we're going to come in playing loose, and they sort of have more to prove than we do.
The London Towers have their own concerns. Despite winning both games against their cross-conference rivals in the regular season, the outcome of this quarter-final is far from predictable.
You know what the problem is we were successful in the Uniball, and then we were successful winning the conference 2 or 3 weeks ago. What I'm concerned about if our team is really hungry, if they're ready to play for another championship, or will they concentrate? Will they work hard enough to pull that off?
We don't know how to prepare for them. We can pull out the game tapes, but for all we know, Coach Pears is out there starting at the point guard. We just don't know what team they're going to put on the floor, what game plan they'll use. They're obviously not going to, they might not play the same way they've been playing. It's a loose cannon.
For one man, silverware is what has drawn him back from Europe.
London Towers want to be a successful team. That was our goal in the beginning of the season, as I've said so many times, was to be involved in every final, to be playing for every championship and to be successful. And, to get to Wembley, that's our #1 goal right now.
For the Towers, Danny Lewis is dressed. We don't know if he'll play or not. For Chester, Terence Lewis is missing back home with his wife. Which Lewis will be missed the most?
I think certainly Terence for Chester. It gives Chester nobody to come off the bench. They've got 5 guys. If any of them get into foul trouble, Robbie hasn't got the person on the bench to be able to pull them off and put somebody else on. So it's going to be that's the biggest loss to them, certainly.
What stands out for you in this game?
Well, I think it's tempo. It's a question of tempo. There's no question Towers have the most depth, but the depth won't be a problem for the Jets if they can control the tempo. Every possession today, they've got to be patient on offense, use a lot of time, reduce the number of overall possessions in the game, and defensively, they can't be too aggressive. They don't want to get into foul trouble.
Will the state of Chester minus players affect the Towers?
It shouldn't do. I think they should be able to stay professional. They want to get to the ultimate goal of winning the championship, and they need to stay focused with that. Chester, they've always shown great team spirit, up or down. They never get onto each other. They stay together and bring everybody and try and get positive from anything. So it's going to be an interesting battle.
Players to watch on both sides.
Well, I think you got to take a look at one of your old guys, James Hamilton, for the Chester Jets. Big key there, but also Dave Gardner, tremendous season he's having. For the other side, for the Towers, I think it's Steve Bucknell, Barry Bowman, the guards for the backcourt, I think will decide the game.
Okay, thanks for that, fellas. Now, the Towers are looking to become only the 3rd side in BBL history to reach 4 championship finals. Billy Mims now joins the maestro on the microphone, Daniel Routledge, for game action.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Let's take a look at the 2 team lists for tonight's game, starting with the London Towers. And the Towers have only lost 1 quarter-final in 9 seasons, and they've been boosted by the return of Danny Lewis from his back injury. But how much action he will see is another question entirely. Towers' starting 5 is thus very big without Lewis. Bucknell moves to off guard, and Coleman, Henlon, and Johnson are all 6'7" or better. That could cause Chester some problems inside. To the Jets, and when they sneaked into 4th spot, they did so with a thin bench. Terence Lewis's absence and the fact that coach Robbie Pears has decided not to suit up leaves them almost threadbare. 19-year-old Paul Singer fills the starting spot vacated by Lewis, and he's usually the designated sub. You fancy that most, if not all, of these 5 players will see 40 minutes of action here tonight. Well, in the NCAA in college basketball, they have March Madness. This is the British equivalent. It's all or nothing April, Billy Mims.
April anxiousness is what it is here. It's March Madness back there, and this is April anxiety, I guess you could say, because these teams, their back is against the wall. I love this kind of day. I think, you know, maybe this might be one of the biggest days of the year right now. Obviously, Wembley being the ultimate prize in a few weeks' time, but today we got 4 games, 8 teams all battling it out for that chance to get to Wembley.
The Chester Jets with the opening offense here of this quarterfinal.
Going to be real interesting, Daniel. Early in the game, let's take a look at Paul Singer for the Jets, see what kind of role he can play. One of the first times, probably maybe the first time all season or in his entire career that he has started at this level, and a big game to get his introduction in.
Towers favorites by 8 points here tonight as Greg Francis hits the opening score. 8 points, a figure you'd agree with, Billy?
Well, it's a real tough call because, again, I said tempo is going to be the key. What the Jets try to do. Now, look at this. They're going box and 1. They've got Paul Singer. His job is to chase Steve Bucknell. The other 4 Chester Jets are playing a zone. It'll be interesting to see how this works because they're obviously trying to take Bucknell out of the game in the start, but also keep the other 4 important scorers out of foul trouble.
Coleman's 3 off the back of the ring. Here's Steve Bucknell with the rebound right through the hands of Martin Hanlon. The Jets will get it back.
And on the first possession, Mike Burton, Robbie Pierce come up with a philosophy that works. They get a missed shot by London Towers and a turnover by Steve Bucknell, and that box and 1 did not come up with any offense for the Towers.
Cameron up top to Greg Francis. Francis under pressure, long shot, rebound Martin Henley.
Greg Francis is probably going to take a lot of shots today. Without his backcourt mate Terrence Lewis, a lot of the offense will be on Greg Francis' shoulders.
Offensive foul called on Steve Bucknell as he dropped his shoulder into Paul Singer.
Now part of that again, so 2 possessions they've gone with Paul Singer guarding Steve Bucknell. You know, and you're talking about Paul Singer hit his coming out party today in British basketball, and he's having to do it guarding a former NBA player.
Certainly a big day for the young lad. Cameron had it knocked away by Bucknell, picked it back up, shot clock running out now on Chester as Hamilton fires long, that bounces out, rebound Donnie Johnson.
I think we may see the shot clock running out a lot today on Chester because I believe they'll be very patient.
Bowman looking for the first score, and eventually Martin Hanlon tips it in. Now, one thing is, this Coventry Skydome, it's a brand new arena. Nobody's ever played here before. These are brand new rings. There are new sight lines. The rings need breaking in a little bit, Billy. No scoring in the first game.
No. That's just an excuse. You know, when you talk about tight rings, if you're a great shooter, if you're a scorer, you'll find a way to put the ball in the hole. In the course of a game, you know, you're looking for excuses when you start moaning about tight rings.
And at the end of the day, if you put it through the ring, it won't touch it, it won't matter.
That's exactly right.
H.L. Coleman too short on the lane.
Now that shot wouldn't have gone in if the rim had been falling down, you know. You got to actually make the shot, you know. And like I said, you know, I think it's a beautiful arena here, the Coventry Skydome. Hats off to the people of Coventry for having a facility like this, and hopefully this will be a great way to introduce it to the entire country today via Sky Sports.
Bucknell off the back of the ring for 3. Johnson with the stick back. And it's 6 points to 2 now.
Again, you take a look again, as we said, Chester really trying to control the tempo, working the ball very patient, shot clock, you know, getting down around 10 seconds again. They're not going to rush anything today.
Cameron for 3, yes! Pero Cameron knocks one out from deep.
Excuse me, tight rims on that. I mean, he looked pretty good on that shot. Sweet string music, as we call it.
Donnie Johnson. Bowman, now Bucknell wants it in the low post. Good hands from Singer to knock it away. Greg Francis off and running. Bowman goes up to block, doesn't. Hamilton with the stick back.
James Hamilton there, great effort. A lot of times when you make a steal like this, only one guy might run. And right now, as you see this great replay from our cameras here, you know, a lot of times you take it for granted he's going to get there ahead of people and make it. But Hamilton going with him there made the big play and got the 2 for the Jets. Effort on James Hamilton to be commended.
Bucknell to Johnson along the baseline with the jumper. It's short and knocked out of bounds. The Towers will keep possession.
And just to take a quick check here, they had the score wrong originally here, but it is 7-4 now. Chester, they originally had it up there 6-2 London, but there was a little bit of a mix-up. Chester Jets have now a 7-4 lead. Towers still seem to be struggling a little bit right now offense.
Donnie Johnson inside, can't get it to go, does it the second attempt.
Towers are still a big team, Daniel. I mean, when you look at out there on the floor right now, H.L. Coleman is 6'7". Bucknell is a good 6'5", 6'6". Hinland is 6'10". Donnie Johnson 6'8". They're a big basketball team.
James Hamilton, who of course his former teammates out there on court. James Hamilton made a championship semi-final with the Towers a couple of years ago. Donnie Johnson inside. Johnson off the glass, and Donnie Johnson with 6 early points here.
I believe James made his debut in British basketball playing for Kevin Gable, didn't he?
Certainly did. Well, he actually played for the Towers. He played for Worthing the year before. That's where he made his name.
That's right, absolutely.
Led the league in rebounding.
I stand corrected. Very good, Daniel.
Hamilton. In the corner is Dave Gardner with a nice-looking 12-foot jumper.
Dave Gardner, I don't know. He must have found Ponce de Leon's fountain of youth somewhere near Chester, not Florida. Because, I mean, how old is Dave? About 46? You know, one of the oldest guys in the British game this year, but Dave has certainly been rejuvenated in a starting role with the Chester Jets, and they have not lost a thing since they put him in the starting role. He scores points every night, gives them good rebounds, good minutes, playing, I think, some of the best basketball of his entire career.
Certainly is playing very well over the course of this season, Dave Gardner.
Have to say hello to Dave Gardner's son, James, 8 years old, couldn't be here today because he was playing in a semifinal of his own.
Coleman's shot is short, but the Towers retain possession.
And veteran dad Dave tells me that his son won his semifinal today, so I'm
the
sure
pressure's on.
They'll be putting some pressure on in the Gardner family.
Bucknell now looking to penetrate out to Morton Henlon. Bowman unleashes a three. That's off the mark. Henlon going after the rebound, gets it, sticks it back. Coleman at the second attempt.
Well, I think one of the Towers' weaknesses this season, especially without Danny Lewis, the guy we're taking a look at there, I think one of their weaknesses has been their perimeter offense. They've struggled against zones. They've struggled some against jump. They have not had the tremendous three-point shooting. You know, they get a lot of baskets going to the basket, getting fouls, shooting free throws.
Dave Gardner, nothing but string on the jumper. When Billy Mims talks about jump, he talks about change-up defense, box and one, triangle and two, things like that. Now, you wouldn't have thought coming into this game the shooting percentages would read like that at this stage.
Yeah, but again, you take what I just said. What are they seeing? They're seeing junk. Now, they're very good at that. You know, anytime you can get inside that box, and that's what they did. They still are in the box and one. They had Singer chasing Bucknell, but they got the ball inside the box, and Donnie Johnson finished with a slam.
Cameron lobs it in, backdoor is Hamilton. Francis going after it, kicked out of bounds. It'll be a Chester Jets ball. Pete Frempong checking into the game for the first time tonight.
Be interesting to see now. Pete checks in place of Paul Singer, and again, you know, hats off to the young man Singer. Did a great job in the first 6.5 minutes of this game. He was asked to take Steve Bucknell out of the offense. Buck is yet to score.
Frempong, only 22 minutes this season, getting some action here in the championship quarterfinal.
Well, you got to say, right now, there's going to be a very interested party in today's result sitting down in New Zealand. Mike Burton told me before the game that on Thursday night, Terrence Lewis's wife did give birth to their baby. There were complications. That's why he flew back home for the birth and decided to stay with her. There was a cesarean performed on Thursday. Both the baby and mom are fine. Terrence is sitting by the telephone and watching the internet. If the Jets pull off the miracle today, he'll be on a plane from New Zealand back to England for the semifinals.
Greg Francis makes the first. There's the Jets fans in the house. They've turned out in some numbers.
I would say that means, again, that this game today is certainly being watched on both sides of the world. International aspects to British basketball.
Speaking of one Lewis, there's the other Lewis, Danny Lewis, receiving some ice to his leg. The problem he's had with his back has sent spasms of pain down his leg, and also he's lost some feeling in his leg at times. He really has suffered over the last couple of weeks with that back problem. Good steal by James Hamilton. He's off and running to Francis. Francis, not enough on it. Hamilton with the stick back doesn't go. Now Towers run it the other way. Look at the offensive rebounds there, both ends. It's 14-2 for a start, but 10 offensive rebounds for the Towers.
Well, Chester, again, not as big as the Towers, not as athletic as the Towers, and also playing that box and one, it tends to make you stand around a lot. It's tougher to rebound from a zone than it is in man-to-man. So on one end of the floor, you've got big, strong athletes playing man-to-man, getting after you. They're doing a good job going to the glass. On the other end, you've got guys standing around like oak trees, not moving, and the Towers going by them to get boards.
Hamilton for a long two, James Hamilton. Now all the stats have been one-sided so far tonight. Here's another one. London Towers threw it away 5 times already. Well, ignoring with 3 of them.
Again, you're looking at maybe the defensive game plan of Robbie Pears and Mike Burton affecting the Towers. Almost had another turnover.
Almost it, but Donnie Johnson picked up the pieces. He's the first man into double figures with 10 of the Towers' 14 points so far.
Boy, is he a guy, Daniel, that has really improved this season. I mean, Mike Finger and I were talking about guys that have improved, and we said, wow, Donnie Johnson has just improved leaps and bounds here in his first year in the British game.
Cameron for 3, short, and there's Donnie Johnson pulling down the rebound. Away comes Bowman now for the Towers. Still Barry Bowman has Henlon in the post and gets it to him. Henlon lost it. Bowman given some space, fires up for 3. The first 3 of the night for the London Towers.
And it's a tie basketball game, so that's a big shot because as long as Chester are in the lead, it's a lot easier to come down and control the tempo.
Gardner going to the hook. Will that count? No, says the referee. Foul was on the floor first. It'll be an end-line ball for Dave Gardner.
And Trevor Pouton, as you can see the call here, there's the foul right there. Yeah, Dave takes a couple more steps after the foul. Would have been a good NBA call, because in the NBA you're taught to continue, because they allow continuation calls, protecting the offense.
Now, Chester finished off the season. They won their last 4 games. They had to win their last 4 games. So in a way, they've been used to this sort of win or go home sort of mentality. The Towers won the conference about a month ago, so they had a lot of games that they didn't really need to win. And does that help Chester?
Well, I think so, and the Towers have been a bit flat down the stretch, and as you said, when you come out, I mean, Ron said in his pregame piece, are they going to be focused? Are they going to be hungry enough to do it?
Henlon throws it off the board, but there's Johnson chasing it down again, feeds Coleman, and Coleman is fouled, and Greg Francis quick to admit to it.
There's a guy with a fashion statement. You know, you got 2 of the Towers with the old high socks, and Steve Bucknell and H.L. Coleman. Coleman ought to feel quite at home here today in Coventry, because his first season in the British game, he played right down the road for the Birmingham Bullets.
Won a championship, of course, with Birmingham.
There's a lot of guys on this London Towers team that know what it's like to go to the finals at Wembley and win one.
He makes the first.
Paul Singer back in the game now, and again, I think you got to say that Frimpong, you know, although he's only played 22 minutes all season, the 2-minute breather he gave to Paul Singer, he didn't hurt the Jets. He did a good job in those 2 minutes.
The London Towers now into the lead, 19-17. We're inside the final minute of the first quarter. Dave Gordon looking for some options, finds Greg Francis. Francis to the fall-away, tough shot from him. Henlon going after it with Hamilton, and eventually Henlon wins the battle.
When you're trying to, control tempo, I don't think you can force shots like Greg Francis just did on that last possession. You know, a fadeaway jump shot, driving, 1-on-4. You can't force those kind of decisions and try to control the tempo.
Danny Lewis receiving treatment on his back still here. We don't know as to whether he will take the court here tonight. I suppose a lot of it depends on how he feels personally and how the game goes.
Well, he must not feel very well if he's getting treatment on his back and ice on his leg. So he obviously has got a lot of problems over there, not just a single injury concern, but maybe several.
Henlon to Bucknell. Bucknell. Smart move from Steve Bucknell to draw the foul.
Veteran play there, pump fake, get the defense up, and then go up and create contact with the defense. The Cardinals, Sam, we say it all the time in the coaching profession, if you're defending somebody and they pump fake, stay on the floor. Nobody's going to block the shot here, and yet he gets the young Paul Singer up off his feet, goes up, draws the foul, Buck gets 2 free throws.
Steve Bucknell knocks out the first. His opening score of the afternoon. Steve Bucknell makes them both. The quick outlet is stolen away by Barry Bowman. Will he get it off in time? Yes, but it'll be short. And at the end of the first quarter, Donnie Johnson, 10 points, 6 rebounds. He's done it all. The London Towers lead the Chester Jets 21 points to 17. We'll be right back after this.
If you're considering a holiday to Florida, keep in mind, flights take off and land daily. There are lots of memorable dining experiences, and it's easy to make a big splash with everyone in your family. Just bring them to SeaWorld in Orlando. No one will want to miss this chance to explore new territories. Become really close friends with the locals. Or kick up their heels. Especially on New Kraken, Orlando's tallest, fastest, longest roller coaster. Buy your SeaWorld tickets today by calling into your local travel agent or phoning 02890-720027. SeaWorld Orlando. Put your family's holiday over the top.
Bring it, bring it, bring it. Let me see what you got. You can't take me, man. Let me see what you got, man.
Welcome back to the Coventry Skydome, where the London Towers lead the Chester Jets by 4. Billy Mims, what are the stats saying right here?
Well, you take an early look at it here, the Towers were really struggling. I mean, the first time we looked, they were 5 for 15. Then they improved and hit 4 out of their next 4 shots from the field. 42% to 41%, not much difference. 3-point shooting, not a big factor so far. 2-point shooting, very similar. Free throws, not a big factor yet. I think it's still too early for the statistics to tell us too much about the game.
Now, the one thing that that stands out is the 11 offensive rebounds by the London Towers, but conversely, they've turned the ball over.
Well, that's right. I mean, if you're going to do something negative like turn it over 5 times, you got to do something positive to get it back. 11 offensive rebounds. I mean, the big thing, Chester so far, Towers are shooting under 50%, but Chester do not have a single defensive rebound.
The two teams take to the court. It's the 5 that started the game for the Jets, as I'm sure we will see almost exclusively throughout. And the Towers also going with their starting 5. Right on the edge of the circle as they jump it up. Singer has it, and he hands over to Cameron. The Jets will have the first offense of the second period.
And you remember in that first quarter, the Jets led the first quarter right up until almost the end. It was 17 all, but the Towers put in the last 4 points of the quarter.
Singer for 3, yes!
Oh, baby! Paul Singer. I said to Kevin Cadle, you know, before the game that we're going to have to see if this young man makes any kind of impact today. We know he's going to work hard, do a job defensively, but can he give them some offensive help? Generally, he doesn't give them a lot of firepower. The Towers left him wide open. Buries a 3, 1 for 1 behind the arc. Maybe this will be the coming out party for Paul Singer.
Paul Singer averaged a point a game during this season. He's got 3 in that one shot right there. Underneath is Johnson, knocked away by Hamilton. Towers keep possession.
Chester Jets have been in this situation before in 1997 when they got to Wembley. They had a mishap in the season, lost one of their foreign players, so they went a player down to the championship playoffs and still got to Wembley and you know, gave us a heck of a tough game in a semifinal at Wembley that actually was a 6-figure scoring fest.
102-101 after overtime.
After overtime, and it was a fantastic game. But again, if anybody can go through a game with only 5 or 6 players and survive, the Chester Jets know how to do it. They've always faced that kind of battle.
I
think the referee's just called a double foul between Hamilton and Coleman in the post. The pair of them were just, it was a little bit of push and shove. They were trying to get their position, and perhaps it's one of them situations, certainly from Chester's point of view, they can't afford any foul troubles. Perhaps a word might be better. Right in the top of your screen. Nothing much going on right there. Now here they come down.
I believe it comes right here.
There they are, just pushing and shoving.
And
Nothing
still
much.
pushing. Nah, I don't know. It's a tough call there. I mean, I guess the referees are really trying to stay on top of it so far. In the first game, I thought they did a good job calling the game and letting the players play the game and letting the game sort of flow. Maybe in this one, they're just trying to stay on top and not let anything get out of hand.
Frempong back into the game for Singer. Here he is. Gets it to Cameron. Pero Cameron backing in. Hooks round Steve Bucknell, and then his whistle for the travel.
Not quite sure about that one. It was hard to see, though, from where we sat because there were a lot of tall bodies. Here we take another look at it. He picks up the dribble and jumps. Yeah, I guess you could give that a travel because he's not really shooting a layup there, and you're not supposed to be able to hop like that, get a couple hopscotch steps, and shoot flip jump shots.
Coleman for three. Yes, H.L. Coleman knocks out the three, his first of the night.
Earlier in the first quarter, I said that one of the Towers' weaknesses was their three-point shooting. Yet H.L. Coleman is a guy that shoots the three extremely well, but he joined the Towers late this season, and for most of the season really hasn't factored into their offense too many occasions.
Now checking into the game for the London Towers. Here is a guy that can shoot the three a little bit.
Well, I think more than that, we've got to say, I mean, I'd like to give a standing ovation to this guy as I'm talking about him right now, and hopefully all the fans out there will see. Brian Balser checks into the game for the London Towers. This is his first game since he had some major internal surgery done. He was very sick, diagnosed earlier in the season with a problem, went into hospital, had surgery performed, and fought desperately to get back to these playoffs. You know, personally, I think it's a bit early, but great courage and character of the young man to step on the court and say, I'm ready to play.
Robbie Pears with the timeout. Let's go over and take a listen.
Okay, you marshal us, you two, and then everyone's got to collapse with a 3-2 zone. Yeah. Or perimeter base. Okay. We've got to match up. You've got to know the shooters. They just brought Bolster in. He's a shooter. You cannot leave him. You've got to match up. There's non-shooters and there's shooters. He's the shooter. Okay, now, okay, we're going 13 offensively. Going 13, take the inside and score. All right,
Robbie Pears just reminding his players, as you say, Brian Balls have been out for a while now. He's a shooter. Watch out for him.
Well, again, you know, it's great to see Brian get a chance to play in this game. And, you know, like I said, fans out there should really appreciate the fact that he's fought very hard to get back. One of the better young players in the English game, homegrown talent. I think he's got a super future ahead of him.
Played in last year's championship final against the Towers for Thames Valley, and of course on the losing side that night.
He had a big game offensively that night, though. If Thames Valley had won, he might have been the MVP at Wembley.
He had 20-something points, hit about 4 three-pointers.
Brian not only, you know, everybody looks at him and says, oh, he's a shooter. But what I've always liked about Brian, he's a gutsy, hard-nosed player. You know, he's not afraid of contact, and, you know, he gets out there and pushes and shoves with the best, and he just plays hard. I mean, you got to like that from tough players.
Francis. James Hamilton for three. That one's off the mark. Donnie Johnson with the rebound. That's the 7th rebound of the game now for Donnie Johnson. Balsa for three doesn't go. Henlon with the offensive boards. Johnson with the tipping. Rebound number 8, point number 12.
Unbelievable activity by the London Towers big men. First, there was Martin Henlon on the glass. He missed it. Then there was Donnie Johnson on the glass. I mean, the problem right now has got to be these offensive rebounds that the London Towers have 13 offensive rebounds that have led to 11 points.
That has been a big factor so far in this game. James Hamilton's three doesn't go. Rebound, Barry Bowman. There's confirmation of what you were saying on the second chance points, Billy. It's all Towers.
It's awful hard for Chester to get points from second chances when they only had 2 second chances. They are not going to the glass, the Jets. And this is why I say about really having to control the tempo. They're doing that to an extent, but they're not controlling the athleticism and the intensity of the London Towers to fight through this tempo.
Good hands from Pero Cameron to come away. Frempong. Cameron. Great pass inside to James Hamilton for the score. Super pass to find him open. The Chester Jets fans here, they're here in numbers. In fact, there's quite a lot of people here. Have been in here since 10:30, quarter to 11 this morning. They've turned out up and down the country. I see Scottish flags in here for the Edinburgh game later on tonight. And they've come early to see all the games.
Well, that's why an event like this is fantastic for the entire country, because you got 8 teams, and that means you got 8 different sets of fans, 8 different communities here supporting their team, their local team, their community, their team, their players. And, you know, normally you only get 2 of those together. Tonight you got 8 sets of them in the Coventry Sky Dome. What atmosphere.
The Towers, I think they had 4 offensive rebounds on that one play. Donnie Johnson with 14, half the Towers points so far. And he's also got 9 rebounds. He'll have a double-double midway through right here. Midway through the second quarter, he can have a double-double.
The other thing, Daniel, is on this day out today for the family, you know, what a wonderful Saturday day out. I mean, outside the weather's not so brilliant, a bit cold, a bit rainy, almost sleeting at sometimes. But, you know, it's beautiful and warm in here. It's a great indoor arena. And look at the amount of tremendous foreign international talent. We're taking a look at Pero Cameron right there, who will be playing in this summer's Olympics in Sydney, Australia, representing the New Zealand national team against the USA Dream Team, NBA players. You look at Neville Austin there, England international. Steve Bucknell, former NBA player. Martin Hinlin, England international. The amount of English talent on display today, former NBA talent on display, Olympic talent on display. What a day for the fans.
Robbie Pearce, he's got a few more things to say to his team. The London Towers lead the Chester Jets by 6 midway through the second period. Let's go down and take a listen to Robbie's timeout.
You've got Bolter. We're going man to man. You've got Bowman. You've got Bucknell. You've got Donnie Johnson. You've got Austin. Okay, he's a shooter. Yeah, I understand. I got him. Now, they're making a run. We're all right. We're all right. Now, offensively, we move the ball, but we've got to go inside at least once in the offense. That last move was a good move. We got fouled, take it strong. Okay, now, they've made a run, we've got to consolidate. Let's go. Trevor, you got to throw it both ways.
Robbie Pearce wanting his team to consolidate here and sending them back out. Steve Bucknell, they put this, what you like call junk defense, box on one on him with Paul Singer early on. Now, Singer has picked up 3 fouls in the process, but they have kept him quiet.
Well, I asked Mike Burton before the game, I said, what kind of impact can we expect from Paul Singer today? And Mike said, watch him do the job we're going to ask him to do. His job has been to take Steve Bucknell out of the game. In the first 14 minutes of this important contest, Bucknell not only has only scored 2 points, but he's only taken 2 shots. If you don't shoot the ball, you can't score points.
And he's missed both of those shots. His 2 points have come from the foul. Cameron looking to go inside, as his coach said. Got to go inside at least once on offense, just to keep them honest. Hamilton going along the baseline, tough move. Stick back from Francis, 2 attempts, and the foul is called.
That is, that's amazing, because I believe that's only the 5th rebound that the Chester Jets have gotten in the first 15 minutes of play. So to see them actually, Greg Francis actually go down in there, fight to get it back, get fouled, earn 2 free throws, if they can sort of realize that's what they got to do. Go to the basket, but then they can't stand around and watch people shoot. They got to go get it.
Confirmation, Billy. 5 rebounds for the Jets, 25.
25, Daniel.
London Towers.
I mean, I've been coaching 19 years. I have never seen a game, and right now we're talking about a game that is only 8 points apart. 30-22, it's either team's game still, and Chester are down 20 rebounds. That is an amazing statistic.
Unbelievable.
I know we say the Jets can't afford to foul people, but I think somebody better, Robbie needs to remind them they can't afford to play basketball. And they're not doing that on the rebounding glass.
Bowman trying to get it inside to good hands from James Hamilton to knock it loose. Bucknell off the high screen from Austin, the pick and roll, gets it back. Austin bounces off Pero Cameron. Steve Bucknell with his first field goal of the night.
And you know when that came? When young Paul Singer was not in the game. Paul Singer's taking a rest on the bench. Frimpong is in subbing for him. And Bucknell fell up. Maybe he got a little space now and can create something.
Cameron going strong is fouled by Steve Bucknell. Bucknell arguing the call. Here's another look.
Guess he called him for a little body contact down low, but Pero is such a strong basketball player. When he goes to the basket, it's difficult not to foul him. He creates a lot of body contact, and he's got a soft shot. He doesn't make many mistakes around the basket, and he draws contact. And a lot of times, that drawing of that contact creates foul situations, and here it results in 2 free throws.
Cameron makes them both, but trims it back to a 7-point ball game.
Pero, to me, still looks like a rugby international. Should be playing for the All Blacks instead of the Chester Jets.
Bowman short, knocked loose. Brian Balsa comes up with it. Bowman thought about a 3 in the corner. Now it's up to Donnie Johnson, the man with the hot hand so far. Bucknell gives it back to him. Johnson from the foul line. Donnie Johnson is on fire here. 16 points, 9 rebounds in just 16 minutes of action.
Well, I have to say that down the stretch, as I said, I think he's one of the most improved players in the British game this season, from where he started and what he showed us in the first couple of months to where he is now. I also feel that, no offense to Danny Lewis, but as I sat courtside watching that Uniball Trophy final, I thought the player of the game might have been Donnie Johnson. He was a strong candidate because throughout the game, big factor in the success of the London Towers.
Hamilton spinning along the baseline past Donnie Johnson. Donnie was the leading scorer in the trophy final.
I'm saying at courtside, he got my vote because not only was the leading scorer, but again, I thought he played great defense. He brought intensity to the table. He's an electric player, you know. He plays hard. And I think one of the things you try to stress to players all the time as a coach, that all the talent in the world's fine, but if you don't play hard, you're wasting the talent. Donnie may not have all the talent, but he plays hard and overcomes some of his weaknesses and therefore becomes a stronger player for him.
James Hamilton making both. It's the London Towers 34, the Chester Jets 27, 3:40 to go in the second quarter here of the second quarterfinal at Coventry Sky Dome. Manchester Giants are already through to the semifinals. Barry Bowman seems slow to his feet as he ran through for the lane. Cameron for 3. Hamilton chasing it down. Good work on the offensive boards for James Hamilton. Trying to run it back, but never lost and broke up the pass. Bowman off and running now. Bowman right through the hands of Donnie Johnson. There's Danny Lewis watching on, still yet to take any part in the game thus far. And I would imagine if the Towers can build up a comfortable lead, we won't see him tonight.
I think you're right there. I mean, they're 9 points ahead right now, and with him fighting some questionable injuries, another week to get ready for the semifinals, 3 weeks to get ready for the possible Wembley championship. If they can win this game and continue to have a lead all night, I doubt very seriously we'll see Danny. The longer Danny sits, the less likely it is we'll see him brought in.
Hamilton's pass is overthrown. Frimpong couldn't keep it in. I need to check my watch because I just said tonight. It's still in the afternoon today.
Everything's going to happen today here. From 11:15 tip-off time of the first game, you know, I think Milton Keynes, Manchester, rolled off the breakfast table and onto the court at the Sky Dome.
A full day's action Johnson, Bucknell unleashes the three. That one's short. H.L. Coleman's quickest to it, and he slapped it off Pete Frempong, and it'll be a Towers ball.
And you know what? That becomes another team rebound there for the London Towers. At the end of the day, they're just more active, more aggressive, more athletic. So you take a look at, again, here's their activity on the offensive glass, creating another second chance opportunity.
Bowman up and down, traveling violation called against him. He wanted a foul.
I'm not sure. I think he was driving that time into nowhere land. Nah, no foul there. I mean, he went into Pero Cameron, and when you go into a brick wall like the rugby man Pero Cameron is, you don't get a foul when you run into a brick wall.
France, good hands from Bowman from behind to knock it away. End line possession for Chester.
Chester are 9 points down right now with 2 to go, and I think they have control of the tempo, but they've played so soft on the glass on both ends of the floor. They're making it really tough on themselves. I think they've got to step it up a little bit here, play a little harder, and they've got to make a run and close the gap a little bit before going to halftime.
Hamilton, time running out on the offense, but H.L. Coleman steals it away anyway. Bucknell. Bucknell to the finger roll.
Steve Bucknell again with another big heady play there, Daniel. Great move there, good decisions, and that's what Bucknell does. I mean, at the end of the day, he doesn't have to take 25 shots a game. He's going to look for the good shots, the right shots, and he makes good decisions. He's a veteran basketball player.
What Steve Bucknell brings to the game is knowledge more than anything else, above and beyond just a smart player.
Well, it's sometimes it's really overlooked by the fans because they see the slam dunks, the block shots, the three-pointers. But, the passing of a Steve Bucknell, the defensive times of Steve Bucknell, the decisions, it's just the decisions that he makes. Sometimes, a lot of players are accused of being great athletes, great talents, but not so cerebral. They make a lot of mistakes. They don't make good decisions. Steve Bucknell's not one of those players. He always makes good decisions.
Here he is now leading the break off the Bowman steal, and the finger roll doesn't quite get enough on it. Gets his own rebound, though. Bucknell now with the jumper short. Rebound, James Hamilton, a rare Chester rebound.
I think I gave Steve the kiss of death there. I said he makes good decisions, and he's at a 2-on-1. He misses the finger roll, gets it back instead of setting up an offense, misses a short jumper. But again, for the most part, his veteran leadership is very valuable to the Towers.
Along the baseline is Cameron. He lost it, got it back again. Spins, nice spin move from Big Pero Cameron in the post. Donnie Johnson comes up limping out of that play. He's still struggling to get over the halfway line. Steve Bucknell, meanwhile, at the other end, draws the foul, but Donnie Johnson is in a lot of problems right here. Look at him.
A lot of pain. Not sure if it's his ankle or his knee, but he has been limping bad. It must be his ankle. He's gone down to his shoelace now. Must have turned it as they were like pogo sticks. Martin Hinland, Donnie Johnson, and I think Dave Gardner was there. They were all jumping, trying to tap that rebound, and probably Donnie landed when he came down on someone else's foot. Worst thing you can do, here's a great replay. We can see Donnie right there, right there. Right there, just turned it over, rolled the ankle, and that's a very painful injury in the game of basketball.
It's also a big blow to the Towers because he's the man thus far, 16 points, 9 rebounds.
Well, it's 19 seconds to go before he goes to halftime and gets a nice rest, some physio treatment, some ice, and they've built a 9-point lead at this point behind his efforts. So how big a blow it is, a 10-point lead right now. Maybe he's helped them get to this point. Now it's time for somebody else to carry him home.
There he is, getting a well-earned drink as Chester will get the chance for the final offense here at the second quarter. He has rolled his ankle, Donnie Johnson. They'll be looking to tape it up at halftime. Here's Hamilton now. Hamilton for 3 off the back of the ring. It's out of bounds, and the London Towers, thanks to Donnie Johnson with 16 points and 9 boards, lead by 10 at the half.
The London Towers, who are 23-3 against the Jets since 1991, lead by a score of 39-28 at the half. Keep it here.
Bring it, bring it, bring it. Let me see what you got.
You can't take me, man.
Let me see what you got, man. I got
On Sunday, the chase is on. Leeds v Arsenal.
This could well be a big, big day.
Keeping the pressure on each other in the race for the best European places.
Such a compelling climax to this wonderful race.
Will the Gunners leapfrog their rivals, or can the young stars put an end to a run of defeats? It's a Premiership battle neither can afford to lose. Ford Super Sunday, Leeds v Arsenal. Sunday at 3, Sky Sports 1 and Sky Sports Extra.
Hello.
Dave? Hi, this is Chris Tarrant here. Listen, your friend Sue is stuck on a question. There could be a drink in it for you.
Hello, want a low-cost loan at your convenience? Whatever you want 800 to £15,000 for, call Lombard Direct on 0800 2 15,000.
Our rates reflect your circumstances, and our typical APR is just 9.9%.
I've just got us a great deal on a loan.
For an unsecured personal loan of 800 to £15,000, just call Lombard Direct now on 0800 2 15,000.
With over 100 activities, nowhere comes close. Oasis. For a brochure, call 08705 086 086.
Thank you, Steve Johnson.
It's a load of rubbish, isn't it? I mean, I could do better than that.
Of course you could.
With Open, you can shop, email and bank through your TV 24 hours a day. It's a revolution in television.
Hey?
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's not unusual to have fun with anyone. It's not unusual to have fun with anyone now. But when I see around with anyone, it's not unusual.
Open. Don't just watch TV, use it.
serious. I'm like the police. I just handcuff you with the ball. You can't move nowhere.
More live football coming up for you tomorrow here on Sky Sports 2 at 1 o'clock. Bristol City take on Stoke City in a Alto Windscreen Shield final on Sky Sports 1. At 3, it's Leeds United against Arsenal. Sky digital viewers can also catch that game live and interactive only on Sky Sports Extra. And on Sky Sports 3 from 6 o'clock, there's action from the Scottish Premier League as Motherwell take on Kilmarnock. There's 3 games coming up for you on Sunday, all live only on Sky Sports. In our first half action, Greg Francis opened up the scoring with this 15-foot jumper, 2-0 to the Jets. The Towers in need of a basket, get the ball to Donnie Johnson, and he slams it home, 13-12 to Chester Steele. Paul Singer, who has been left open all half, hits a wide-open triple. The Jets are now down 1, 21-20. After this series' 4th offensive rebound, it gives Donnie Johnson his 14th point and 9th offensive rebound for the game. Towers lead 28-22. And the old adage of live by the jumper, die by the J has applied to Chester in the first half, and they trail 39-29 at the half. Chester opens the game in the box and won. What did you think of that strategy?
Well, it did a good job in taking Steve Bucknell initially out of the game offensively. But what it didn't do was the 4 guys in the box stood there like 4 oak trees. Donnie Johnson ran through them, ran riot through them. H.L. Coleman, Martin Hinland, and hence they killed them on the glass. The 4 guys in the box can't stand there. If the box and one does that, they better scrap it before they come out of the locker room.
When you look at Chester, who would you say maybe 1 or 2 players that needs to do a better job in the second half?
Certainly Hamilton, as Billy said. The Chester guys are standing around watching their teammates play a game of basketball when they don't have the ball themselves. And also Cameron, I think he's been quite quiet, not very active defensively, and offensively has been more of the distributor rather than being a force himself.
James Hamilton, 10 points, 5 rebounds. Cameron, 7 points, 1 rebound. You have to have better from them. Towers, without Danny Lewis, how does their flow look?
Well, I still think this game is a guard-oriented game in this country, with the exception tonight that we're seeing a star guard and Danny sitting on the bench, and then the post guys taking over because of their activity and athleticism. But again, if Chester could get something from their guards, they'd probably be in the game. The guy that I'm looking for is Greg Francis, that has not stepped it up without Terrence Lewis, his backcourt mate, not giving us enough. I mean, hey, Paul Singer steps out and scores 3 points.
Yep.
First half, 2 more than his average, but Greg Francis well below his average.
Okay, let's look at the match fact. Greg Francis only 5 points in the first half. You're looking at the field goal percentages of Chester, 10 for 28. A lot of those are jump shots. Need to get off the 3-point line and 2-point line. Here we have, let's look at the rebounding. Martin, what can Chester do in the second half to maybe counter this?
Certainly, when they're playing defence, they've got to shut Towers down and try and keep them to 1. I mean, even if they kept them down to 2 offensive rebounds every offence, they're going to be winning the ball game, or very, very close.
Out of those 16 offensive rebounds, the Towers have been able to come up with 15 points. As we look at the leadometer, Chester started off early. They controlled the tempo pretty early. They had the lead, and then the Towers basically just took it over from there and rode it out for the rest of the second half. When you look at the conditioning of Chester, most of their guys didn't get back in until Wednesday, had been off for 10 days. How did their conditioning look in this game?
Well, I think you can see it from the leadometer there. You know, they started off great. They were active. You know, not being able to get a break.
Yep.
Obviously, you know, the wind goes a little bit. And you say, pre-season, you know, people work hard to get the wind and get in good condition. That can be lost in a couple of days.
Quick answer, can Chester come back?
I think they need to work very hard. I think they can do. You know, the Towers certainly haven't got an easy ride on it, but they've got to rebound hard and they've got to be more aggressive offensively and take the ball to the basket.
All right, now, we don't know which teams will make it to Wembley, but we can guarantee an exciting package for our competition winner for the big final on May 6th. Listen up as Suzanne gives the details.
After 228 games, it comes down to just one more, and one lucky viewer will get the chance to join the 2 successful teams at Wembley. But first, you have to get the correct answer to the following question. The question is, how many different Sky Sports MVPs have there been in the Dairy Dunkers Championship regular season? Was it A, 10, B, 15 or C, 20? The winner will receive tickets to the final on May the 6th, VIP hospitality, travel expenses and overnight accommodation, plus a ball signed by each of the championship MVPs, whilst the runner-up will also receive a signed ball. All you have to do is put your answer on a postcard along with your name, address and contact number and send it to Basketball Competition, Sky Sports, Grant Way, Isleworth, Middlesex, TW7 5QD, or email us at basketball@bskyb.com, and all answers must be with us by Tuesday the 25th of April.
Have you ever wondered what a coach does before a big game? Well, some contemplate while others visit with Suzanne at courtside.
Thanks very much, Kev. Well, some of them I have to give some money to convince them to come out of the dressing room and come and talk to me at half-time. But their next game is a crucial one for these 2 coaches, Mike Finger and Chris Finch. I would say that you're paying close attention to this game at the moment.
Yeah, I think we both have to prepare as there is the next week. I'm certainly looking forward to playing it if we do well today.
Okay, well, Mike, how do you think Towers are doing? I know they're 10 points up, but are they missing Danny Lewis?
Well, I don't really think they are too much right now. You know, Chester's trying to take some stuff away from Steve Bucknell, but the other guys for the Towers have really stepped up. You know, Donnie Johnson, and they've done a great job on the offensive glass so far. So sometimes when you're missing a key player, it brings everybody together, and I think that's happening for the Towers right now.
Okay, well, Chester certainly need to do a little bit more on the rebounding. But looking ahead to your game, Chris, how do you feel about it going into this?
You know, a little nervous. It's been a long time since we played each other. I think of all the teams in the league, probably Birmingham was the team that we played furthest to go. So we had to do a lot of homework this week, concentrate on ourselves most of all, you know, and just bring up our best effort. If we do that, I think we're going to be okay.
Okay, and have you been doing your homework as well, Mike?
Well, trying to, yeah. You know, Chris doesn't do a lot of special things, but what they do very well. They want a very good motion offense, and if you try and key on 1 or 2 guys, everybody else can hurt you. So they're very balanced. He gets 19 points off the bench, you know, and so they've got so many guys that can hurt you. You just got to try and come out and guard everybody as best you can.
Well, Mike, Chris, thanks for coming down courtside, and we wish you all the best for your game in just, what, an hour's time or something like that. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
And we can see those 2 coaches going head-to-head at 3:45. Immediately following this game, it should be a great contest. Sheffield has beaten Birmingham 2-0 this year, so look for a good game there. Now, the top-seeded Towers lead this championship. The top-seeded Towers lead this championship final by a score of 39-29. Donnie Johnson is the game's leading scorer with 16 points. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I'm going to do something really outrageous. I'm going to tell the truth.
Governor Jack Stanton has got what it takes to be president. Loved by the people he loves in return.
Sorry. Governor Jack Stanton seduced me.
A story of sex and drugs and the electoral roll. John Travolta and Emma Thompson in the first showing of Primary Colours, tonight at 8 on Sky Premiere. The biggest films every Saturday night, guaranteed.
Does this remind you of your financial situation? Isolated because you need a loan but don't know where to turn? If you want to consolidate all your existing debts, improve your home, or buy a new car, there is an answer. Just call Ocean Finance now for an in-principle decision on an any-purpose loan, even if you consider yourself to have a poor credit rating, because we will consider all circumstances. So for that homeowner loan, call us now on 0800 858 858. That's 0800 858 858.
If you've been hurt in an accident in the last 3 years, you may be entitled to compensation.
I was carrying a bucket of hot tar and I fell over and poured it over my arm. I heard the National Accident Helpline come up on the radio. They put me in touch with a solicitor that specialises in accidents at work. They did it on a no-win, no-fee basis. I ended up with £21,000.
Find out free if you can make a no-win, no-fee claim. Call the National Accident Helpline now on 0800 556 557.
Bring it, bring it, bring it. Let me see what you got.
You can't take me, man.
You got, man.
You can't take me.
More championship boxing coming up for you later tonight. Michael Carruth and Adrian Stone fight for the vacant IBO light middleweight title. That's live boxing tonight from 8 o'clock only on Sky Sports 1. Chester's 4-game winning streak was the best of all teams coming into the playoffs. At the half, they trailed the Towers by 10. It's action time, and our commentators are Billy Mims and Daniel Routledge.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Yes, indeed. The Towers looking comfortable at this stage, up 10. What do the Jets have to do to get back in front in this game?
Well, I think Robbie Pierce said it in one of his timeouts we saw in the first half. We got to go to the basket. We said these are tight rings. Towers are not winning this game behind the arc. They're winning it by activity on the offensive glass. They're getting to the basket. If they miss, they're getting a second chance at it. They're getting a third chance at it, but they're getting to the basket. The Chester Jets have got to stop taking jump shots, get to the basket, get active on the boards on both ends, then they'll have a chance.
Donnie Johnson back and recovered from the ankle injury just at the end of the first half. He loses the jump ball, though, with James Hamilton. There is Donnie Johnson, and the Towers will get the possession. Bucknell with the jumper. Nice way to start the first half for the London Towers.
So, you know, we talked about Buck in the first half making good decisions, looking for the right shots, and there he opens up the half, again with a veteran decision and a good field goal.
Singer out to Cameron. Inside is James Hamilton and going to the basket.
Well, you see they did it, you know, again in there, and he got a good shot.
Bucknell out to Bowman.
Chester have gone man-to-man on defense now, so this should pick up their activity. Hopefully their intensity will step it up a bit. I think they're saying, hey, we can't stay 10 down. We're going to have to go after the play.
Bucknell with a hook shot, driving to the lane.
But you see, now is where, you know, the individual talents, one-on-one of the London Towers step up. If you go man-to-man, what we just saw Steve Bucknell do there was one-on-one basketball. Chester had no help. Bucknell got to the bucket, scored the one-hand hook shot, and now it's one-on-one basketball. We're going to have to see how that affects the second half of this game.
Hamilton to Francis.
Dave Gardner is another guy that's been very quiet for the Jets since early on.
Bowman runs into Cameron, carries on the break, hands in by Francis.
Runs into Cameron. You're being very polite there. From the angle I had here, I thought Perot was going for a tackle. Listen, take another look at it. Watch Perot's left elbow. Boom! Left elbow, left shoulder, left hip. I don't know who ran into who there, but I certainly know who intended to run into who.
There was no whistle. That's why I said run in. There was at the other end, Greg Francis called for it.
Daniel, you're being kind here. This is what we in the coaching profession then call justice, because they got it down the floor and got fouled anyway, and they're still going to get 2 free throws.
H.L. Coleman will take them.
It's better here, you see, because if they'd have called a foul at half court, it wouldn't have been a shooting foul. They'd have got no free throws. This way, they're at least getting a chance at the charity stripe, but H.L. misses the first one. Could be a good foul for the Chester
Could be,
Jets.
yeah. H.L. Coleman makes the second. 8 points for him. The Towers lead is now 13.
This is
biggest of the game so far.
Sorry, Dan, didn't mean to interrupt there, but this is when tempo becomes a problem. If you're 13 down and you've been playing a controlled game, now you've got to step it up, speed it up. You've got to change gears. I think it's like, you know, basketball's tough to be like a light switch, turn it off and on.
But Greg Francis knocks out the 3. Bucknell to reply, no. And Frempong with the board, so away come the Jets now.
A little bit of transition basketball. Francis, he almost had a look at it and turned it down.
He's looking for another one. He's feeling hot now, he's made one.
Well, he's got to take shots. I mean, again, we said, you know, they need some offense from their guards. Well, he's really the only offensive one they've got without Terrence Lewis back in New Zealand. So Francis got to take shots, he's got to make shots.
Bucknell trying to get it inside. Hamilton's there to fight with Johnson. Johnson, though, gets the better of it. Back out to Bucknell. He lines his feet up and knocks the shot out.
Very close. He was really towing that three-point stripe there. Almost a set shot by Steve Bucknell. Toes right on the edge of the stripe, nails the 3.
Cameron gets it back to Francis. He fires up another 3. And that one was short. From this angle, it looked like it almost went in there.
Yeah, it did. And you know, again, I think he's feeling the pressure now. He knows he's got to step up offensively, but he's forcing shots. And, you know, although he hit a 3, maybe that's the worst thing that could happen to him, because they went to the basket first possession and got an easy 2 layup. So, again, I still believe, as Kevin said at halftime, the old adage, live by the J, die by the J.
Martin Hanlon inside, flips the ball back out to Coleman. Bowman for 3. Way too long. Loose ball, Towers get it back.
See, if you're Chester Jets, those are the shots you want London Towers taking. You know, it was an ugly shot by Barry Bowman. Hit up there hard like a brick, fell. But the problem is that the Towers' activity and athleticism gets them another opportunity. Chester just can't come up with the rebounds. Too slow, too stagnant, you know, too planted in their steps to be active enough to get the rebounds.
Bowman with the quick dish to Martin Hanlon for an easy lay-in.
Kevin was talking about fitness at halftime, and Dave Gardner, Perot Cameron trudging up the floor here. No question. If you're a little bit unfit, it's also going to be that much tougher to fight from 15 down and make a real concerted effort at a comeback.
Gardner driving through the basket is fouled by Donnie Johnson.
It takes energy, it takes athleticism, it takes mistake-free basketball to build comebacks. Right now, so far today, Chester's shown no signs of any of those.
There's the Chester coaching duo of Robbie Pears on the left and his assistant and former coach of the year, Mike Burton. Mike Burton was, of course, coach of the year they last made the championship quarterfinals. They went on to be, as we've already mentioned, semi-finalists against Billy Mims and the Leopards.
A lot of experience there in Mike Burton. He was also an assistant coach to the national team with Kevin Cadle.
Hamilton to Cameron. Now Gardner goes along the baseline, pinned by Martin Hanlon. And the Towers get possession.
I tell you, not a lot of times do people really talk about the impact of Martin Hinland. You talk about Steve Bucknell being a veteran, you know, making good decisions, big factor. Martin Hinland is too. When we beat the Towers this year in the championship play, Martin Hinland didn't play. And I think that was the biggest factor in our favor that night because he is such a wide body inside defensively. He creates problems when you try to go to the basket.
Long outlet to Hamilton. Bucknell knocked it loose, but couldn't quite chase it down. But good play to stop the easy lay-in for James Hamilton.
Great effort by Steve Bucknell there to get back defensively there. You know, he saw James Hamilton open. Steve sprinted, made the play, broke up the easy score. Now Chester's going to have to earn it.
Francis now up top, hands over to Cameron for three. Yes, Perot Cameron, his second three of the night.
Well, Greg Francis, Perot Cameron, probably the two best perimeter shooters for the Chester Jets, although again, they haven't shot well on the game tonight. Towers went to a zone defense that time.
The alley-oop to Bowman, Frempong knocked it loose. Gardner with the foul, ooh, bobbled out for H.L. Coleman.
Once again, you know, there's the alley-oop play, doesn't go, but what happens? Athleticism, intensity, activity on the part of H.L. Coleman creates a second chance opportunity, draws a foul, now he's going to get free throws. Look at him attack the basket there. How many times have we seen Chester's guys tonight go to the bucket that hard? When H.L. got the ball, he didn't think about a jump shot at all. He went to the basket. Attack the basket, be aggressive, get fouled.
H.L. Coleman makes the first. 4 or 5 from the line tonight.
If H.L. hits this shot, he'll become the 4th London Towers player in the game to go into double figures. And ironically, we talked about Bucknell having a slow start in the first quarter, but he's the game high scorer right now with 16 points.
Cameron. Francis fires up a three, doesn't go. Rebound James Hamilton, back out to Francis. And Cameron stepped under, saw Johnson out of place, got called for the foul. And Perot Cameron will go to the line for a three-point play, three-point shot. His foot's on the line.
Oh, tough call there, wasn't it? He's going to get 3 free throws, and the third one's going to certainly be a bonus, as he was definitely standing on the line. For those fans out there new to the game, maybe tuning in today for the first time, if you're standing on the line, it's 2 points.
Watch his foot right.
When it's the end of the shot, if you go a little bit further, right there, he's definitely standing on the line.
Well, he's missed the first free throw, so there's some justice in that at least.
Well, I'm not sure, because if you missed the first and only had 2, and that's only a 1-point play, by the bonus free throw, he's still got a chance to make 2 points.
He makes the second.
And if he makes this one, that's one that he shouldn't have gotten. You see, should have been going off the line. Towers ball, now 1 free throw. But, you know, it's a tough call. Referees, you know, a lot of times coaches and fans give the referees a hard time, but let's be honest. They're out there and they got to make a split-second call. They're trying to watch 10 fantastic athletes confined in a 94-foot long by 50-foot wide court. They don't have the benefit of the Sky Sports slow-motion replays, and they got to make tough calls on the spot.
Coleman this time going after it under the boards, and the Towers really, it's been the story of the game, just the way they've relentlessly gone after the offensive boards.
Well, they've just been the aggressor. I think Towers have been aggressive on the offensive glass. They've been aggressive at attacking the basket. They've been aggressive on defense. They've been the aggressor in this game. While Chester, you know, we know Chester came in short-handed, and they certainly had a game plan to try and attack that, but the game plan really hasn't worked for them.
Now, the one interesting thing, just looking at the stats, Billy, is the Towers have taken 15 more shots than the Chester Jets. And the pure and simple fact of that is the rebounding. They've just gone after, if we look, 18 offensive rebounds.
Generally, an offensive rebound will lead to another shot. So if everybody has the same amount of possessions and no offensive rebounds, you'll probably take the same amount of shots. But 18 offensive rebounds, no wonder the Towers have 15 more shot attempts. And I believe to score more points, you got to take more shots. So at the end of the day, it all equals offense.
Offensive foul is called against Pero Cameron, setting the illegal screen.
But there's almost 14 minutes of basketball left in this quarterfinal game here, and it's not over by any stretch of the imagination. But for the Jets to get back in this thing, they've got to start to make good decisions both ends of the floor. They got to get more aggressive, more active, step up their intensity. They got to start making some shots, making some plays.
Cameron comes up with the steal. Cameron thought about pulling up for the three, found Hamilton on the trail. He goes strong to the basket, doesn't get the bounce. Dave Gardner with the offensive boards. Francis has to change his mind as Bolsa got a hand in his way.
And if you notice right now, defensively, London Towers really not even guarding Peter Frimpong.
Francis going strong to the hole and draws the foul from Brian Bolsa, but Greg Francis hasn't got much to go tonight. He's 2 for 11 shooting.
Well, there's a lot of pressure on the shoulders of this young man as we watch him drive to the bucket and get fouled here. Again, as we said, his backcourt, I think Chester this season with Francis and Lewis, Terrence Lewis that is, who's at home in New Zealand, praying for a miraculous final 13 minutes here so he can get back on a plane to England. But I think the Jets have had one of the league's better backcourts, and I think that's why, even down the stretch, that they succeeded. They had great games most of the season from Francis and Lewis. Tonight, there is no Lewis, and the whole burden of the offensive firepower from the backcourt has been put on the shoulders of Greg Francis.
Cameron with the stick back off the offensive rebound. It's back down to 11, 3 minutes to go here in the third quarter.
Well, we said they've got to become more active. They got to make shots. They got to make plays. On that play, Cameron was active, made the play, got the rebound, made the shot.
Bowman dances his way to the basket for the lane. The quick long pass is picked off by Steve Bucknell.
Another great defensive effort by Bucknell, getting back to stop an easy Jet score.
Bowman, Coleman going after the rebound. It touched Hamilton last. Towers get possession.
And this is why it annoys me, when people want to, sometimes have a knock at great players. I can't tell you the amount of times this year I've heard people complain about Bucknell's effort on defense, and yet here tonight, he's been one of the stellar standouts for the Towers defensively. It's one thing to watch the game and make your comments. It's a total another thing to step out there and make the decisions in the spur of the moment and play the game.
Steve Bucknell with a big grin on his face. He's enjoying things at the moment here, and why not? His Towers lead by 15 as Martin Henlon is called for a foul on James Hamilton going to the basket.
Martin not happy with the call there, but again, I got to give credit to Hamilton. Yeah, he's got him up in the air. Martin reaches at the end of the play. No question who created the contact there. Good call by the officials, but why haven't the Jets done more of that? One-on-one, attack the basket, get fouled. If they've got a limited bench, well, they got to start to get some of the Tower starters in foul trouble, dig into their bench. But you can't do that standing around shooting jump shots.
James Hamilton knocks out the second. The top seed in the South leading the fourth seed in the North by 14 here in the third quarter. Locked inside to Neville Austin. Missed the easy one, got his own boards, and then walked with it. Sloppy play, should we say, from Neville Austin.
Well, it should have been an easy two, but then, hey, the Chester Jets decide, well, if he's going to give it away to us, we better give it back to him and make a sloppy play. Bad decision by the Jets. And as I said before the game, if they have any chance in this thing controlling the tempo, every possession is important. They've had 3 or 4 turnovers in this quarter down the floor in transition. Those are not good decisions.
Coleman, Rattler, rebound Brian Bolsa. Bucknell has it now. Nobody guarding him. Thinks about it. This time he was toeing the line. Bolsa knocks it back to him. Bucknell to the running hook.
Vintage Steve Bucknell there. I mean, if you've ever been a Steve Bucknell fan, watched him throughout his career, boy, he loves that running one-hand hook shot there. Did that at the University of North Carolina when he was the ACC Player of the Year, and continues today to do it for the London Towers.
James Hamilton a long 2 for the Jets. Bowman racing back down court, lobs it out to Coleman and hits the wood. Austin on the trail. This time he makes the lay-in.
Yeah, that was for you, Daniel Rowland. He said, I heard Daniel Rowland say I was sloppy on my last effort. I'm going to finish this one. Nice finish by Neville Austin.
Greg Francis, under pressure, driving through the lane, gets the jumper.
Create scores, create opportunities, and to do that, you got to be active and attack the basket.
Neville Austin going strong, short on the shot.
Not a bad move there by Neville. He got a big bump there by Dave Gardner, but still tried to finish the play.
Bucknell whistled for the foul as James Hamilton went one-on-one with him.
Hamilton makes these 2 free throws. We're looking at a 12-point game. So there is still an opportunity for the Jets. By no means is it over. And London Towers this year, strangely enough, have been a team that late in games, they can build big leads, and then they go through quarters where offensively they seem to float a bit. Maybe they lose focus, as Ronna Beglin said before the game started. And maybe they just lose a bit of intensity and think the game's over and won. So it'll be interesting to see this fourth quarter. Can the Towers remain intense? Can they keep their focus? Can they be aggressive? And as he said before the game, are they hungry?
We shall find out. 1 quarter and some change left here in quarterfinal number 2. Manchester Giants are already through to the semis. Bowman draws the foul and count the basket for Barry Bowman.
Nice drive to the basket for Barry Bowman, and a nice gesture there. Bowman gets the drive, gets the score, gets fouled. Here we get a good look at it. Nice drive there, gets bumped underneath, finishes the play. Just after that, you saw Steve Bucknell come over and give a big hug to Barry Bowman. Pero Cameron there picked up his 4th foul on that play. Martin Ford, Kevin and I said pre-game that the Chester Jets cannot afford foul trouble, and now we have Pero Cameron on 4. They're probably going to let him finish the quarter here. I don't know. If he's got 4 fouls with me right now, I'd probably take him out, because in 21 seconds, you certainly don't need to see him foul out of this game. They're going to leave him in, and I've seen players, just get caught in the wrong place, wrong time, and in 21 seconds, he's not going to win or lose this game for you in the next 21 seconds. It would be a great opportunity to get him out, at least make sure he enters the 4th quarter. We'll have to see what happens here.
James Hamilton rebounds the missed free throw, and he'll amble it forward. He has Coleman in front of him, and he has 13 seconds to do something with it. Hamilton. Francis gets it off for 3. Neville Austin with the rebound, and that's the end of the 3rd quarter. Steve Bucknell, joint top scorer with Donnie Johnson, 16 points each. The 1st seed beat the 4th seed in the opening game. Will it happen again, or can the Jets come back? Find out after this.
Bring it, bring it, bring it. Let me see what you got. You can't take me, man. What you got, man?
Too big to miss. Lennox Lewis, 6'5", 17 stone, champion of the world. Michael Grant, 6'7", 18 stone, still undefeated. Big time boxing, April the 29th, Sky Box Office. You can order this event for $11.95, 48 hours before it starts, using your digital remote control. See channel 770 for ordering information.
Serious, I'm like the police. I just handcuff you with the ball. You can't move nowhere.
Welcome back to Coventry, where the London Towers lead the Chester Jets 62-48. Billy Mims. The stats tell a story, but I don't really think they tell the story on this page, because there's not much between the 2 teams on this page.
No, there's not. I mean, the percentage is all very similar, but this is the story of the game. Early on, Towers were destroying themselves with turnovers, but they haven't turned it over in the second half. Chester have. Also, Chester have never gotten active on the boards. Towers have dominated the offensive and defensive rebounding.
That's been the difference. Off those 20 offensive rebounds, 24 points have come for the London Towers. Now, in the first quarterfinal, the 4th place Milton Keynes Lions trailed the Manchester Giants, who were the top seeds. They mounted a comeback in the 4th quarter, came back to 8 when it didn't look likely. Can the Jets do likewise as Johnson and Hamilton tip it up? Cameron just about saves it, does he? Only to Bucknell. Donnie Johnson doesn't get the jumper to go.
Difficult there. You never try to save the basketball towards your opponent's basket. Perro threw it back, and if you don't get it there, generally you give up an easy shot for the opponent.
Frempong, all the space he needs. To Gardner. Hamilton. Hamilton had it stolen away by Donnie Johnson, who lost it on the dribble. Frempong just kept it in his own half. Cameron will let one go. Over the top of the backboard and out of bounds. The Towers will get it back. Robbie Pears pacing the sidelines now. Such a difficult job for him here today.
Well, 2 things I noted on that last possession. One, we saw the missed 3 by Perro Cameron. Usually when you're tired and winded, long shots fall short. Secondly, I think on the one-on-one by James Hamilton, and if you look out of the Hamilton now, defensively he even looks tired. Hands are down. He was holding his waist a moment ago, holding his shorts, trying to get a breather. There's no question the Jets are a bit tired. And you're tired with 14, now 17 points down, coming from behind. Very, very difficult.
Hamilton. Hamilton looking to spin, pass, and a nice move, though, from James Hamilton.
Beautiful effort that time. I just talked about him looking a bit tired. He may be tired, but I think he's playing on heart there. And he said at that point in time, you know, I gotta score.
Coleman trying to get the step back. Dave Gardner eventually comes down with the rebound. 3-on-2 break. Francis feeds Hamilton. Hamilton slams it home and trims it back to 13.
Nice play there. Great possession. Again, for the first time, the last 2 possessions, the Chester Jets have become active. Dave Gardner got after that rebound, created a nice transition opportunity. Jets have gone back to a 2-3 zone, seeing if they can force Towers now to take some perimeter shots in this last 8 minutes.
James Hamilton called for the foul there. That's his 3rd personal foul.
See, neither team have really burned this thing or lit it up from the perimeter tonight. London Towers are 4 for 14, so are the Jets for 3-point shooting. 29% behind the arc. It's the baskets like that that have decided this game. Going to the bucket, active, out-athleting your opponent, out-intensity your opponent, just being more active, more aggressive, closer to the basket.
Donnie Johnson with his first score since he twisted his ankle. There's the foul problems. And really all the problems on Chester's side, because they've got no real subs to bring in if anybody fouls out.
No question about it. I mean, and they've played this game desperately trying not to get in foul trouble, and that may be their biggest detriment tonight.
Under 8 to play, Robbie Pears with a timeout. Let's see what he's got to say.
Listen. Pete and Greg, we're in a 2-2-1, okay? A 2-2-1 on a made basket. On a missed basket, Pete, James, Hero, Greg, and Yogi, we're in a 1-3-1, and we're going to trap. We're going to trap, but we've got to protect the basket. Protect the basket, but trap. No, James is back out of the pressing. Back into 3-1-3-1.
Coming out of that timeout, we see the points by quarter. The London Towers have won on each quarter thus far. Robbie Pears now looking to put some up-court pressure on a made score.
Well, not only on the makes, but also on the misses. He's going to do traps either way. They're going to a 2-2-1 full-court trapping press on makes. On misses, they're going to go to a 1-3-1 half-court trap, but he also asked him to protect the basket. They're going to try to step up the pressure, see if they can force Towers into some mistakes.
Dave Gardner along the baseline. Nice move with the reverse lay-in from Dave. Caught one in the ribs, I think.
You know, and they go back to the basket again. They attack the basket. No matter how big and athletic London Towers are, if you can aggressively attack the basket, you might make something happen.
Bowman lost the ball out of his own hands, but caught it back. Bucknell to Coleman, and he's fouled by Dave Gordon.
Well, that was their 1-3-1, but the two things that Robbie asked for never happened. They never got a trap, and they didn't protect the basket. In the picture, you saw James Hamilton sliding up. When you're on the weak side of a 1-3-1 trap, that you're away from the ball, you've got to get down and protect the basket. You never gamble up for the steal. Just an easy play for H.L. Coleman to draw the foul. H.L. Coleman is a nice shooter as well. He's always been a very good free throw shooter. Now, I jinxed him there, the kiss of death.
Certainly did. Don't forget, coming up after this game, it's the Sheffield Sharks against the Birmingham Bullets. That's at about 3:45 here on Sky Sports 2. And then at 6 o'clock, flip over, Sky Sports 1, we continue with the final game, Thames Valley Tigers against the Edinburgh Rocks. Right through the hands of Martin Henlon. It was aimed for Dave Gardner. Henlon got a piece of it, so it'll be a Jets ball.
It was a good look by James Hamilton. Oh, nice inbounds play. Get to the basket.
Nowhere to go, and Steve Bucknell ripped the ball away from him.
He probably made a bad decision in passing that one into trouble. He was under the basket. Just try to wheel your way back in, get fouled, and see if you get a shot off.
Bowman changed his mind, gave it to Henlon. He was going for the rebound, big Martin Henlon, so he did well to catch, spin, and finish.
Absolutely, and looked like he was after a bag of sweeties there, but he finished the play, grabbed the ball, sucked it in, and made the basket.
Gardner trying to get it to Hamilton, does eventually, after Johnson lost it. Francis, off the back of the ring, rebound Dave Gardner, turns around, fires it back. Donnie Johnson with the rebound. Remarkably, he had 9 rebounds in the beginning of the game. That's his 10th. He's finally got his double-double.
As you remember, Dan, I said early in the game, Donnie's activity built them a big lead. And then you said, would they miss him if he had an injury? I didn't think so, because I thought he'd done the early work. Now it's time for someone else to take over and carry them home.
6 minutes to go in the ball game, 72-54. Timeout has been called once again by Robbie Pears. It's his last of the game. Could it be his last of the season? Let's go down and take a listen.
Let's pick up straight man-to-man. Greg, you take Bowman. You've got to try and deny him the ball. He's doing everything. You take up. How many fouls James got? 3. I got 3. Got 1? How many fouls did James got, please? He's got 3. Right. You take Henlon. You take Coleman. Yeah, we got Donnie Johnson. Let's go down without a fight. Look, let's not panic offensively. Keep moving the ball.
Robbie Pears looking to mark all the way up the court. This, of course, game 2 of a 4-game day. In game 1, the Manchester Giants, the #1 seeds in the north, knocked off the 4th seed in the south, Milton Keynes Lions, by 81 points to 68. The other way around, the London Towers here, #1 in the south, leading #4 in the north by 72 points to 54. Francis penetrates, flips one up. Dave Gardner with the rebound. Not enough on it. Still fighting for it. I think Frimpong's got it in among the bodies and eventually traveled with it.
That last time out there, you know, is a very frustrating timeout. Frimpong looks like he's hurt as well there.
Slow to his feet. I think he whacked his knee as he went down after the loose ball.
It's a brand new floor, so I'm sure it's quite hard wood, you know. It's the floor hasn't been broken in any more than the rims have. I was saying about Robbie in that last time out, Daniel, a bit frustrating for him. You can see it, the look on his face. You know, they felt great to win 4 in their last 4 games, come in here with the biggest winning streak in the country, get here. The loss of Terrence Lewis certainly has made them less competitive today, made their work a lot tougher in trying to get the job done today. And a frustrating timeout. They've changed defenses on like the last 3-4 possessions. Every time out, they've tried a new philosophy, new strategy, grasping at straws, trying to find a way to get themselves back in it.
Francis for 3. Knew it was short as soon as it left his hands. He was jumping to try and give it a bit more, but it wouldn't go. 1 of 6 now from behind the arc, Greg Francis.
3 for 16 overall in the game, though. Talked about an enormous amount of pressure on Greg Francis without Terrence Lewis here, and it just shows you, you know, a backcourt combination is only as good as each other. Sometimes they both look great together, but on their own, not so much.
Barry Bowman knocks out a long 3 of his own. He's now got 12.
There's no question, Daniel, that the depth of the London Towers has been a key factor. We haven't seen a lot of bench scoring by other teams, but it's not about that. It's about they lost Danny Lewis today, and yet the guy that started in Danny Lewis's place is a foreign player who's been to the championships and won before. So, you know, when you bring that kind of talent off your bench, replacing an injured player, that depth is the key to the Towers' success today.
Here's a look at the leading scorers. As you can see, that in fact, all 5 of the Tower starters in double figures. The other way, just the 3 guys in double figures for the Jets. They needed perhaps more offense from Cameron and Francis.
Well, there's no question Francis well below his game, Cameron below us, but also Dave Gardner. The only guy that's really performed up to his numbers today is James Hamilton. And you hear a nice move by Robbie Pierce. 4 minutes to go in the game. You know, his team has done all they can at this point. Let the young kids get some court time on Sky Sports. Let them feel what it's like to be part of this. These young kids that are out on the court for the Chester Jets right now, they train hard every day, guarding the James Hamiltons, the Perot Camerons, and you can't get ready for a game without these kids. So they're an important part of the success the Jets have had this season. Nice gesture on Robbie's part to really give them some serious court time here at the end of this game.
Give them the last 4 minutes of the Chester Jets season here. Ron Aberglen has followed suit, and he's got most of his, there's Barry Bowman just receiving some treatment to his knee.
Former player of mine on court now as well, Lloyd Gardner. I think another one of the fine, young, heady players. Lloyd is actually trying to get himself a position to get a scholarship. He's being recruited by several NCAA Division I and II schools in the USA, so this might be the last month that we see Lloyd Gardner on a British basketball court for the next 4 years, because he's probably going to travel to the States, and I think he'll do an excellent job in college basketball stateside.
Brian Borsa gets his first points of the game. Here's McKelvey for the Jets. Law. Dunn. Back to Law. Singer along the baseline. And Singer is fouled by Neville Austin. And Singer seems to have got a whack on the hand there as well. He's clutching his hand. Here's another look as he went along the end line. Neville caught reaching in. Hands in the cookie jar there.
Hands in the cookie jar there. If you're going to go steal the cookies, though, you've got to put your hands in the jar. You can't steal them outside the jar.
McKelvey unleashes a 3. Neville Austin was in the way. Rebound Dunn. He puts up the stick back. That one's short. Frempong saves it to Dunn. And Dunn gets his first points.
And I have to say there as well, a lot of class by Martin Hinland. You know, Martin is a veteran who knows this game's won. Martin's now leaving the game. Nice round of applause. Class move by Ron Aberglen. Give Martin Hinland a bit of an ovation from the London Towers loyal supporters. And there's Martin showing his support for the fans who came from London to Coventry today. But Martin Hinland there, what I was saying, he allowed Dunn to hit that shot for the Chester Jets. He could have blocked it, but he made no effort. And I think a class play on Martin Hinland.
Law in the corner for 3 is short. Coleman with the rebound. Sean Foote off and running. Ahead to Lloyd Gardner. Borsa fighting his way through the paint. Foote looking for some help and finding it in the shape of Gardner. Good ball movement from the Towers, and eventually a 3-second violation called against them.
Shoot the ball, somebody. Good ball movement. I think it's called no guts out there. About 5 guys for the Towers passed up open shots. I'm pulling for Lloyd to light one up for me there.
Bulls Singer in the corner for 3. It doesn't go. Now, Billy, the Manchester Giants are through to the semi-finals. They were the #1 seeds in the North. The London Towers are a couple of minutes away from being through to the semi-finals. Will #1 North meet #1 South, perhaps?
Well, that's a good question, and certainly they've done what they had to do so far to get themselves in position for that kind of 1 versus 1 final. In the States, you know, March Madness, this type of one-off knockout competition creates so much excitement because of the chance for an underdog, a small Valparaiso, to step up and beat a UCLA or a North Carolina. Well, today, Chester was the Valparaiso, but divine intervention wasn't on their side. No upsets so far in the first 2 games. The next 2 games we've got to see, I don't even know if you can call them upsets. 2 versus 3, you know, a game here or there, and either team could have reversed position. So I really expect the next 2 games that the Sky Sports fans will view today to be extremely competitive, exciting encounters, and anything can happen.
And really, it's credit here to the Chester Jets for being here. They won their last 4 games. They, as you say, best winning streak coming in here, and they did a great job, Robbie Pearce and Mike Burton, just to get here today.
But what a difference a player makes, especially if you're the Chester Jets, who don't have much of a bench throughout the season to speak of anyway. There's no question that in winning those 4 games, Terrence Lewis was a big factor. Now they don't have Terrence Lewis today, and you can see what sort of big factor it was. Towers were without Danny Lewis, their top scorer on the season. Their veteran all-star. We see Bucknell, Inland, Lewis, you know, the veterans of the Towers sitting there. No Danny Lewis today, but the fact that Danny Lewis was there didn't matter to the Towers, like the fact Terrence Lewis missed the game for Chester was crucial to their efforts.
Singer in the corner for 3 is long. Good rebound from McKelvey, goes up strong, and it's foul.
You know what? That was as active as they've been on the offensive glass today. Hats off to McKelvey there. I mean, he went in there, said, I'm going in the land of the Giants, the big tall bodies. I'm going to be watching him. Boy, that's a highlight for his career right there. Great rebound. He draws the foul on Austin. Like to see the young man hit 2 free throws here.
There's a home court.
I almost thought I was going to jinx him there.
That's his first point of the game, and there, the dejected faces on the Chester bench.
You know what this is? It's all about drama. This is high drama. You go back to the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat, and nothing shows it better than the players now sitting on the benches. You look at the smiles on Martin Hinland, Danny Lewis, Steve Bucknell, smiles on their faces. Ronna Beglin having a good time watching his young kids play, but everyone sitting on the Jets bench dejected for their performance and the agony of defeat.
Also going strong, landing on Frempong, and Frempong got hit hard as Bolsa came down.
Clutching his head there. I hope he's okay. As Bolsa came down, let's see if we can see the end of the play. Was it Bolsa? Yeah, it was just Bolsa's elbow. I was worried a bit that it might have been the floor. If it was just Bolsa's elbow that caught him going down, chances are he'll get a bad bruise, but you know, usually you don't get concussed from that kind of play. If he had been his head hitting the floor, probably a much more dangerous situation. So hopefully he's just very bad headache right here, but hopefully he's okay.
Receiving the treatment on court, James Hamilton will get ready to check him in, and this is the last sort of thing you want with just 21 seconds of the season left for the Chester Jets.
Sure, and you know, we take a look at the again, the frustration on the Jets bench, but I'd like to get a shot at Brian Balser again, because Brian Balser today has come back from, you know, months of injury, serious operation, internal operation in the hospital, showed tremendous courage. The doctors said you might not play again this season. You'll be fine for next year, but may not make it back this year. From day one, Brian Balser said, I'll be back for the playoffs. He's worked hard in the last few weeks with the Towers. He's worked in the weight room. He's worked in training. He's worked on his own as well as with the team. You know, great tribute to the young Englishman to see him come back from a serious hospital operation, serious illness, and play today. Not only play, but also get 6 points in this game. Hats off and applause, you know, as we watch Frempong get up here. But tremendous applause to Brian Balser coming back from injury.
Pete Frempong being helped to the bench, and the Chester fans on their feet to applaud him.
Those are the little stories, Daniel, you know, that I talk about Brian Balser, some of the things behind the scenes that don't always make the big news. You know, to me, a player coming back from what he's done, you know, that should be headlines in the paper as well. You know, it shows a lot about character, about commitment.
McKelvey for a deep 3, rebound never lost, and stolen away by Neil McKelvey, not quite, right through his hands. Gardner flips up, nice move, oh, couldn't quite get it to go, Lloyd Gardner. Sean Foote blocked from behind by McKelvey, and that's the end of quarterfinal number 2. The London Towers got through to the semi-finals, Billy Menz.
Well, number 1 from the north is through, number 1 from the south. It just goes to show that the seedings work a bit. It also goes to show that no matter what time you play, whether it's 8 in the evening or 11 in the morning, you know, the best talent generally comes to play. You know, no question, all season long, the London Towers Manchester Giants have already won trophies. They've won both the conferences, and the London Towers also won the Uniball Trophy. Manchester's been to 2 finals, so they should come in here and perform as champions, and today they have.
Donnie Johnson had a great first half, didn't he? Ended up with a double-double, 22 points and 12 rebounds.
As we said, I think the game was won in the first half when the Towers sort of methodically wore down Chester. Chester had a game plan, and the Towers tore that apart on the back of Donnie Johnson.
The London Towers are through to the semifinals.
And yes, indeed, the Towers are 85-58 winners over the Chester Jets. Donnie Johnson, today's MVP, 22 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists. He's with Suzanne.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Well, Donnie, 22 points, 12 rebounds. You must be happy with that performance tonight.
Oh, yeah, I came out, tried to play well, you know, since we weren't playing with Danny, you know, a lot of us had to step up, so that's what I did.
Overall, Donnie, how do you feel? This is a rookie season, 2 medals already. It's been a good start for you with the London Towers in this country, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, you know, I wasn't expecting, you know, how it's going to be, but, you know, I came in, played well, you know, but I ain't happy till we win it all, though.
You want to win all the time. Of course, what did you feel, in your opinion, tonight was the key to Towers' success in this particular game?
We crashed the board, you know, the first half, you know, and trying to shut down Hamilton, you know, because player Lewis, he went home, so we had shut down Hamilton.
Well, Donnie, you can hear them behind you out there, the Chester Jets fans. They are making an awful lot of noise. They've been very supportive. They put up a big battle, didn't they, today?
Oh, yeah, they was all in our ear, you know, distracting us, you know. They're good. They got good fans, you know. They got good support.
And so is the London Towers, and they will be here with you next week. Congratulations on the MVP for this game, and we'll see you next Saturday. There you go, Donnie. All the best. Thank you.
A big congratulations to Johnny Johnson, but the story of the first half, the Towers had 16 offensive rebounds, 4 in this series. Donnie Johnson converts. The Jets were 10 for 28 from the field in the first half. Shows you can't live by the J. The Jets were down by 10 at the half. The Towers again execute inside. This time, Hinland off an inside screen. 56-41 to the Towers. Versus the zone, Bucknell hits the long 3-pointer. 65-48 to London. Buck lobs to Johnson, who finishes on the second effort. The Towers' largest lead, 18 points. And the Towers team showing happiness after the victory. The coaches shake hands. Ron Aberglin lives for another day. The rebounding was excellent from the Towers' point. Is there anything else that impressed you about their team?
I think, you know, to say they were without Danny, who certainly controls their team, I think they had good offense. They kept the ball, they moved it pretty well. So all in all, it was, you know, just a great team effort.
Towers guards, Bucknell, Bowman, how do you rate their game?
Well, I thought they played well. Early on, Bucknell in the first quarter kind of read the defense, waited for it, got Donnie Johnson going, got him active. Then as they built the lead, Buck got himself active. But at the end of the day, I really think that the big thing is the depth. Yep. 85 points is a lot of firepower when you're missing your leading scorer.
Bucknell, Bowman, all, you know, outstanding job, I thought, offensively, but the type of job they did on Francis defensively.
Well, not only those guys, but a lot of times Francis found himself, Kev, taking shots over bigger players like H.L. Coleman, taking jump shots over Martin Hinland, over Neville Austin. I thought the size of the Towers really bothered Greg Francis. Whoever he shot over tended to be taller than him, therefore he was forcing tough shots, never seemed to get good looks at the basket.
Okay, both those guys joined Suzanne. They had double figures in today's game.
Thanks very much. I have to say, I'm not sure whether you can appreciate the noise up here, but it's just stopped. But you guys have had lots of hassle from those Chester fans. It was a great game. Key to the success today, do you think, Barry?
The key today was we played great defense. I think it's probably the best defense we played in a while. But we pushed the ball out and got some easy shots. And my man Buck here hit some big shots for us, and that was key to the game.
He certainly did have some big shots, certainly in the second half. But Buck, in that first half, their new boy Singer, he did a pretty good job on you. You kept you down to about 2 points, I think.
Yeah, basketball is a team game, and they came out and put a man on me, which I didn't expect. It was a shock to me. But the other guys, I didn't have any worries at all. I felt like we were going to win that game because we had much better strength. We had 3 guys down low against 2, and I felt like we were going to win that game.
Well, it certainly you did have the control. I think Chester's game plan had to be to try and control the tempo and London Tower's intensity. It never really happened for them, did it?
No, they tried to slow the game down, but like I said, they wasn't hitting shots, so it gave us a chance to get out on the fast breaks.
One of the key things for Towers, though, Bucks, is the depth in the team. That was a key thing here today, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. We had some guys come off the bench. Even Brian, who hasn't played in a while, came off the bench, showed some true grit. We got a long bench, and we know we can count them. Neville came in and gave us some play. HL is now starting. He played excellent. I mean, we know we can count 8, 9 players every game.
Well, let's just quickly look ahead to what you feel about the next game. You've obviously had some good battles between Birmingham and Sheffield. It could be either way. What would you fancy?
Neither one, really, but no, I guess we would rather play Birmingham, but it really doesn't matter. You know, we got to face the challenge, and we'll accept it.
It doesn't matter. He's right, though, isn't he, Steve?
It doesn't matter. Hopefully we can catch a team off guard, or whoever it may be, but at this stage in the competition, anybody you play against is going to be good.
Well, we wish you all the best for next weekend. We'll see you here, same time, same place. Well, maybe a little bit later anyway. Thanks, guys.
Looking at the match facts of this game, 85-58. You got Chester shooting 33% from the field, 19% from the three-point line. Still on the shooting, for me, Greg Francis was a big disappointment.
No question. I mean, he struggled, took tough shots all night, missed his partner, Terrence Lewis. But overall, I think, as I said, the only Chester Jets player I thought shot well was Hamilton. The other guys all below their normal averages.
And you got a guy like Francis, 3 for 15 on the outside shots. Chester, Billy talked about throughout the game, maybe should have attacked the basket a little bit more.
Yeah, certainly. Throughout the year, they've been very aggressive going to the basket. You know, they've got excellent penetration pitch, and that's probably where they missed Terrence Lewis. Greg Francis couldn't do it all, but they certainly need to get to the basket a bit more. I thought Cameron should have got to the basket a bit more. I don't think he got to the basket hardly ever tonight. And again, Hamilton, as we said at half-time, a lot of the guys were standing watching one player try and make a play.
Billy, what would you say to a fan that say, you and Steve Bucknell have talked about the strength of Towers' bench, but they only gave you 10 points?
No, but I think that's a misleading statistic tonight. I'm glad you pointed that out, Kevin, because it's only 10 points there of what actually came off the bench. But let's look at both teams' real bench. The real bench tonight was H.L. Coleman, who started in place of Danny Lewis, versus Paul Singer, who started in place of Terrence Lewis. That was the real bench. H.L. Coleman gives you 14 points, load of rebounds, great defense. Paul Singer gives you 3 points and not a lot else. So at the end of the day, that one bench stat, that was the bench for tonight's game. But their bench all season has been H.L. Coleman and Paul Singer. Those guys were thrust into starting roles today. You got to still give that credit to the depth of the Towers, the quality of their bench.
Did it show for you in the second half the conditioning of the Jets? I know as we look at the leadometer, it just kept going up and up and up.
Yeah, we said it at half-time, you know. Chester came out when they had some energy in the first quarter, and they were actually in the lead, and it went backwards and forwards. From the end of the first quarter, really Towers just took over, and that comes, you know, being able to give guys spells, you know, bring people off the bench that may not give you scoring, but certainly you don't lose anything by bringing them on. You know, they work hard and they work well as a team, and they get the guys that can score the basketball.
Okay, joining Suzanne, Ron Abiglen at courtside.
Thank you very much. We're still having an awful lot of hassle from these Chester fans. Ron, another day's rest for Danny Lewis. That's got to be good looking ahead to next weekend.
I didn't want to play Danny unless we absolutely had to, and give him a couple more days rest, have a full week of practice, and then I think you'll be ready to go Saturday.
Now, you did say that you were feeling a little bit concerned about maybe if the guys were hungry enough. They've had success in the Uniball and the conference. They looked hungry enough tonight.
I thought we played one of our better games today. I thought Chester started off really well, and we had to really work hard. And I was happy with our zone attack. That's been a little bit of a struggle for us most of the year. I thought our zone offense was much better today.
How are you approaching the next game? Obviously, you're going to be paying attention, a lot of attention to this next game, Sheffield, Birmingham.
Yeah, I'm not sure, you know, who would be favored, but we'll play whoever ends up being the winner.
You're not committing yourself, are you? You guys were pretty relentless on the offensive boards today, weren't you?
Yeah, Donnie Johnson and H.L. Coleman, the young legs were in there and battling, and I thought both of them had a great job. I think it was 28-7 for us on the boards first half.
Now, I know it's not over yet, but we're looking ahead. If you get through the semi-finals, we could be looking at a top of the North, a top of the South final, couldn't we?
Well, that's a possibility. Did Manchester win today? I guess that's a possibility.
They did.
Yeah, okay.
Well, it's been a great season so far, hasn't it, for you? You've obviously been very pleased with what you've achieved.
Well, I think we've come a long ways. There's still a lot of work to be done before we get to that championship game. And of course, we have a great rivalry here with Birmingham Bullets. And, of course, we haven't beaten Sheffield yet this year. So that'd be a real task for us.
Right, well, it was a great game today. Congratulations, and we'll see you here next weekend.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And congratulations to Ron Abe-Glenn, who got his team to the semifinals. Was the loss of Terrence Lewis the reason why Chester lost the game?
I don't know if it was the sole reason why. Certainly a big factor, Kevin. I think you and I have talked about this an awful lot about, you know, if you're going to score, you need so many points to beat a good team.
Yep.
And where are you going to get those points from? Terrence Lewis was capable of giving them 20 points that the Towers would have had to worry about, maybe opening up more avenues for Francis and for Cameron.
Yep.
But without him, they focused more on those other guys' big problem. Not to disagree with Martin earlier on, but I never saw Chester today come with any energy. In the first quarter, the only reason they hung around, I think they caught Towers off guard. Buck said himself he didn't expect the box and won. But I never saw Chester bring any energy to the game today, and it's hard to win without energy.
Chester just, we mentioned before, off for 2 weeks, but 10 days they did not practice. We have the playoff finals coming up. You have the semifinals. 2 weeks later, you have the finals. What do you suggest that those teams do during that 2 week period?
Well, they certainly need to keep the intensity in practice. You know, ideally, you may want to give them a couple of days off, make sure, you know, anybody's got ankle injuries, give them a bit of an easy time. Probably even break practice right down quite gentle to start with, and then build up to the crescendo, which is going to be the final.
Okay, one man who would love for the Towers to get to the final week, Danny Lewis.
Thanks, Kev. We were obviously very interested in what's happening in the back, but we're also very interested with the hair. Your stylist has been very busy.
Well, I'm just changing up every now and then, you know, trying to be creative. But about the back is doing much better. You know, right now we're going through a lot of rehab. I could have played today, but I'm just glad I didn't. I'm glad the guys stepped up and did their job and came out with, what, 20-point victory?
Let's just remind people, those that didn't know, Danny, what was your injury? It was quite a serious injury. It still is an injury.
Yeah. Well, I took a big knock a couple weeks ago, and I had to do something with the disc in the back. And it was swollen, and it was pushing against the nerve of the back, which in turn was losing the feeling. I was losing the feeling out of my left leg. And it was difficult playing when you have a dead leg, you know. So I had to go get it checked out, and they did some injection and to take the swelling down. And, you know, I'm back on my feet, and I can feel again. So now it's about rehab and getting my coordination back and my strength.
Well, we thought we might see you out there playing a few minutes if needed. Luckily, you weren't needed. Looking ahead to next Saturday, how confident are you feeling about that?
I feel real confident. You know, the guys are feeling real confident. Here comes the ball towards you. All right.
It's a bit of a hazard in this game, isn't it?
But we're going to take it one day at a time. You know, we're going to go into practice probably Tuesday, gather ourselves, do what we have to do. I'm going to go in tomorrow and every day throughout the week and get rehabilitation on my leg and, you know, do all I can to get back to 100% and, you know, be ready for Saturday.
Now, looking at the game that we've just seen, it wasn't very much a perimeter game, but it was very aggressive from you guys on the boards.
I tell you what, we did a great job today on the boards. I mean, we controlled the offense and the defensive boards and took them right out of the game. You know, we didn't give them a chance to get any type of second shots, you know, and we ran our fast break and we played very good defense on James Hamilton and the other players today.
Well, Danny, we wish you all the very best, and we hope very much to see you on court next weekend with us.
That makes two of us. All right.
I still get my kiss. Thank you.
Yeah, we all wish Danny the best that he returns. You look at the Towers. This is the second time that we've had a chance to see Towers. They played Milton Keynes without Danny Lewis on television, and today against a slacked Chester side. But how good will they be against a team that is in the semifinals without Danny Lewis?
I think it all depends on the ball pressure. You know, Barry Bowman's a great guard, but he's more of an off guard. I think he can be pressured a little bit. I think try and keep the ball out of Steve's hands and then real put some pressure on Barry. I think they could struggle sometimes getting the ball over half court. So, you know, but then again, we saw them against Milton Keynes and they've gone slightly away from it where they were passing the basketball up court. Obviously, that was the first game without them. And from that, they did create some turnovers because guys weren't ready to be catching a ball in transition because normally Danny's bringing it up with the dribble. But they've obviously worked hard in practice with that. And, you know, now they're getting into sync a little bit and finding the feet without Dan Lewis.
Okay, one team that we know of got to the semifinals a little bit earlier today, the Manchester Giants. They beat the Milton Keynes Lions by a score of 81-68. Our next game up is the Sheffield Sharks against the Birmingham Bullets, and these guys are practicing on the floor right behind us, trying to get themselves ready for the game, and that should be a very good game itself. So our focus now turns to game 2, where the Sharks look to bite the Bullets, or is it the other way around? I'm sure Suzanne has the answer for us. She's at court.